Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Today's Tuesday, that means it is Sam Keith Day, and we are looking at the next issue of his The MAXX series from the early 90s. This is issue 2, cover dated December, I believe, 1993. Let me double check. Actually, I'm sorry, December 1994. What more to say about this issue and the MAXX series in general? It's really veered off to, I've talked about in the past few issues, into territory that I didn't expect it to as a kid, and nor today. As a kid, I'd already kind of jumped out of the plane by this issue. I think last issue 11, 10 or 11 is probably the last issue I read as a kid back in the day. So kind of new to these issues, 12 and on. I have to say, once again, even at this age, maybe I'm not evolved, maybe I don't understand. There's just something that really doesn't grab me about the stories at this point in the series. I still appreciate the art very much. That's, you know, the main reason I've been sticking around even now for these reviews. And this issue, I have to be honest, was quite a slog. And I'll try to get it through it very quickly and move on, hopefully, to issue 13 being more interesting. I'll be reading that one for next week's review. But just, yeah, nothing super positive other than artwork stuff to talk about in this one. As far as the storyline goes, just I find it quite boring, I gotta be honest. And if this is your favorite comic, please don't be insulted. That's just my opinion. Everyone's entitled to it, and you're entitled to not agree with me, which is fine. I mean, the cover's kind of interesting. You know, this kind of looks like an evil version of Mr. Hanky from South Park. And, you know, probably dashed out pretty quickly, but I do like Sam Keith's art, and I like this as well when he kind of goes nuts a little bit and does some crazy shit. And I think that's a good example of that. But this is kind of a character, you know, it's Mr. Gone, from what I understand, is basically turned into this kind of weird looking hanky, you know, piece of poo. Yeah, it's a weird comic. I've mentioned it before. So love the use of negative space and how it is used here. I think Sam Keith does that very well. And there's apparently some hand that's kind of gone through the barrier between the Australian outback of Max's fantasies and the real world. So story and art, Sam Keith. Dialogue, Bill Messner-Loebs. Lettering, Mike Heisler. Finishes, Jim Sinclair. Color, Steve Olive. So the creative team really hasn't changed up to this point. So good on them for consistency. So again, some interesting stuff with the art. Love Sam Keith doing those weird panels. I love the shot of this kind of under the bridge or under the overpass or something. I think he does that really well. And all this kind of rhythmic sound effects here drive home the point that the MAXX is, excuse me. I'm going to leave that in. Bless me. I just don't want to re-edit. So excuse my sneeze. So MAXX, Julia has moved away, right? MAXX is pissed off about it. You know, the chung 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 chung. I'm gonna assume it's his footsteps, right? And I mean, Sam Keith just allows himself to do a dirty, ugly kind of drawing, right? Like texture-wise and aesthetics-wise, you know, and the sweat and all of that stuff. And I think it's just, you know, he could have drawn a big shot of the MAXX and his whole body and yelling and tensing and veins and stuff, but just this close-up shot of his face here and a rare use of his pupils, right, just are enough here in the rough-hewn kind of artwork he's doing here to give us a sense of where the MAXX is at. This is probably the angriest we've ever seen the MAXX express it, anyways, in his face. So what we learned is this kid here's kind of struck a relationship with Mr. Gone, or the leftover of his body, which we're going to see pretty soon in the silhouette. Yeah, just very odd. Some things I appreciate with the art. The top of the building, right? Well done. The lighting here, you know, the light from below and the shadows kind of reaching the top of the buildings here. Just how cleverly, I'm sure he just used white paint, whether it was him or his assistant, to kind of do this grid-like, you know, it's almost like doing perspective lines, just basic perspective lines with a quick kind of dash of paint or ink or whatever. And it works really well to convey that idea of a city at night. I think that's great. Really well done. Really effective. And good use of negative space here with this, again, that Sam Keith circular panel layout, right? And all this negative space and then him overlapping it. Really great. Creates that sense of depth, right? Here, no actual, well, I guess curvilinear perspective is what's used, or what's kind of faked here, I guess, a little bit, right? Where the lines kind of curve in this way. If you were to do a grid, right, the curve, really well done. I like it. It's a little bit surreal, but I think it works. And saves on having to do a lot of drawing down here and getting through a page a little bit faster. So good on him. I think Sam Keith was pretty good at following his, monthly schedule, or close to monthly. I don't remember huge lags between issues. So yeah, just again, the art's interesting, but this conversation between Gon and this kid, I'm just not into it. They're talking about Julie and the MAXX and their feelings and their fantasies, and yeah, you get a sense of something weird here. Here he kind of looks like I don't know if it was done on purpose, but one of those Muppet characters. I forget the Swedish Chef. Is that it? The guy who goes around kibberish, kibberish, right? That's what the silhouette looks like here. That's what it reminds me of. So that's hilarious to me, right? And I think they're hinting at the fact that this is where the MAXX usually sits, here on top of that building. So that's kind of an interesting little detail. He's using the same kind of panels all throughout here, especially when we're in kind of the B story with the young kid and whatever Mr. Gon is at this point. Such a twisted looking silhouette though, eh? And again, in the MAXX, we meet this guy all of a sudden, right? And basically he's just there to have his car stolen, and we don't quite know right away who steals it. More of the Mr. Gon with the young kid here. Some surreal stuff that I find kind of interesting, if I'm going to pick at anything that's good. The art is good, but again, the storyline doesn't interest me. This marble here falling into the building, down the hole, and actually hitting the MAXX on the head in his kind of Australian fantasy. So there's some sort of transition between here and here of him, converting over to the real world and breaking into this bathroom that is from like issue 2 or something, where Mr. Gon was. And so the MAXX finds tapes here, and he starts listening. And, story-wise, Mr. Gon was talking to Sarah on this tape. So you see Sarah, I had to give that purple mud puppy, the MAXX, a real villain to fight, or his life would have been meaningless. So I created this Mr. Gon, and of course the MAXX smashes the tape recorder playing the tape, right? He doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to hear that his life or his fantasies are actually fantasies. He doesn't want to face it, right? So there's all these psychological aspects that get mixed into the MAXX series that, again, is not was to be expected from the beginning of the series, right? It got kind of dreary. I'm not against those themes or anything. You could do it in a fun, interesting way. Just find that the series gets very gothy and dreary, and just like this page here with the rain, and everyone's kind of very mopey in this series. And I think the concept could have been done more interestingly, or at least more entertainingly, right? At least that's what I feel, especially from this issue. Clever silhouettes all throughout with this kind of air conditioning unit. I think that's what that's supposed to represent here. I think that's well done. And the use of shadows and stuff on this page and this layout. But again, just mostly there for the art. Sam Keith throwing in one of those kind of slightly painted panels that he does once in a while. And we get to see Mr. Gon's face, which again, looks like on the cover, Mr. Hanky or something, really messed up. And this kid just splats it and steps on it. It's kind of gross, right? Just again, very weird series. Kid meets up with the MAXX. That's how it ends. I always thought the MAXX was weird too. I got to go back in that, never any to be continued, or just something. Nope. Oh, okay, it's over. You don't necessarily expect it. Not that you should, but actually, no, I think you should. You get what I'm saying. Some indication that it's the end and it's to be continued or completely finished. Some more fan art here. Ooh, back in the day when you get cool merch, right? The MAXX here, t-shirt, MAXX versus Pitt. I mean, this I would love. The only thing I would say is this would have been a good opportunity, I think, for the shirt to get rid of this border at the top here. Keep it at the bottom, but design-wise, get rid of that on the t-shirt, right? It's kind of hokey. It's just my 2 cents. Don't get angry. Oh yeah, black and white. We already made jokes about that one, eh? We'll leave it at that. Shaman's Tears. I remember one of the issue 1, the first nipple I saw in a comic. Anyone who got Shaman's Tears back in the day, watching out there, you know what I'm talking about. Mike Grell kind of a, you know, somewhat of a Neil Adams kind of clone. Not a bad artist by any means. Think he got this. It's been talked about how he helped Todd McFarlane back in the day, early on in his career. So this is kind of Todd McFarlane paying back the favor. Not quite sure if that's true or not, but I have heard that. And like I said, he's a pretty good artist, but there's just a few weird things I would say on this page. This character, and this character have disproportionately huge heads to their bodies. I know superhero, you know, anatomy and stuff, usually artists do, you know, big muscles and small heads, but I do feel like here it's kind of the opposite. The bodies are properly muscled and stuff, but the heads, maybe not so much on this one, but still, but this one and this one specifically, to me, their heads are just huge and way too big for the body. Don't know if that's just me, but still an interesting image, I think. Pretty striking. Be nice in color. And then you got Fairchild from Gen 13. This is an ad for the Gen 13, the first series trade paperback. So good on them. That was a popular series, right? There you go. The MAXX issue 12. That's my review. Not super positive, but hey, looking forward to issue 13. Hopefully turning it around and having maybe some more interesting stuff for me and you guys out there. Again, you know, that's my opinion. Some issues I like more, some issues I like less. This is definitely one that I like less. The direction is not necessarily to my liking, but I'll keep critiquing the art and talking about that because that's the most interesting part to me, and hopefully that's what interests you as well. So thank you out there, those who are subscribed, who are still watching. I really appreciate all your support. Those who are not subscribed, please do so. It's real quick, and it helps us out a lot. Anyone out there who's got questions, comments, please let me know in the comments section below. I try to answer questions and comments as best as I can. And thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you. Everyone have a great day. King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13. 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at kingcomics.ca, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby. Like!